recording, and then I'll just
Okay.
be a minute or so. I'm looking for something to talk about. Go ahead. You're gonna say something.
Yeah. I guess I've also struggled with like playing a lot. That's kind of with any games. I like Valorant was a big one where. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Valorant was a big one where I didn't find myself grinding enough when I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to like play a game for like a lot of hours a day.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm standing. All right. And I'm on autopilot right now.
Yeah. Focus up. I'll just be waiting for you to do something.
Oh, that sucks. That also sucks. Dude, another one? Dude, I'm being so useless right now. We should just regroup.
Alright. So I have a couple things we'll talk about, but they're longer, so we'll wait till after the game/round is over.
Oh, yeah.
No. What, we already have our ultimate, right? What value would we gain out of poking there? Are we
Right there?
gonna get a kill from that range?
No.
No,
Like,
and we have our ultimate, so we're not really gonna do anything if we did peek. So there's no reason to peek, right?
Okay, yeah, I did it again. All right. I guess do I just like sit here or
Yep.
just hold?
Yeah, you can just wait.
Surrender to my will.
Oh my gosh. Dude, this is like the third tire this guy's had. Oh my gosh. I'm playing like a bot right now.
Right, now Lucio ran into that, but when we do use High Noon, make sure we're using it when there's actually people out in the open who we can High Noon, right? There we used it when we couldn't see anybody and everybody had to cover who we could see, right?
Yeah.
Besides that as well, make sure when the Junkrat was tiring that we were going and trying to kill him, right? Instead of just, watching the tire, we can go and try to kill his body while he's AFK.
I'm just staggering.
Right. Usage of roll, usage of flashbang, making sure we're just using them more often. Like so far, I haven't really seen us using roll too often. Roll just having a lot of uses, right? You can use roll for mobility to get somewhere faster. You can use roll to dodge things, and you can use roll to reload, right? You have a couple different options, right, with it, and really we haven't been using it too often. Besides that, flashbang, just pretty much anytime somebody is within your flashbang range, you should be using it to flashbang them, right? We're going to have a couple things we'll talk about after this game is over, but those are just a couple to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a very bad game for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, all good. Like if you feel like you need to, we can always just hop over to quick play. Like honestly, ranked to
Nah.
quick play is not going to make too much of a difference at a silver level, right? It's honestly
Yeah.
we're going over fundamentals of the game anyways, so therefore you're not going to see too much of a difference from playing quick play to competitive.
I mean, I'm willing to play comp, just
Okay.
especially for coaching.
I just don't, if that was maybe a less stressful environment. But, the other thing is if you feel like it's still you're not performing, like, let's just say, like, even if you're not stressed and you're just not performing well today, we can always do a replay, right? That's an option. And then that way we have it from a game where you're not, where maybe you are playing average.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Bullseye.
Oh my gosh, these turrets.
All right. I thought it was funny there when we heard the TP and looked up into the sky.
Well, I saw the Pharah. I heard the Pharah. I couldn't find her.
Yeah. All right. So just making sure keeping our ears open, listening for people.
Yeah.
Besides that, I've noticed a lot of hesitation when we're like walking around. We'll go a little bit into like actions for a minute after this game is over, but like just make sure we're not like hesitating too much because we'll like be this thinking about a decision for like 5 seconds straight like while the fight's happening, right?
Oh my gosh.
Very nice. Flashbang is an option there as well.
Oh yeah.
No, make sure you're not walking into an ulting hog, right?
Right.
Watch for it.
Yeah.
Well, now.
Okay, in that situation, maybe going high ground with a high noon might be a good option, right? We want to make sure we're looking to use our ultimate, right? Not just hold on to it. I think. Oh. So,
Dude,
right.
I'm trolling so hard.
Right, so
I'm sorry.
in the last round, right? I think we had held on to our ultimate for maybe like 2 or 3. I think maybe like 2 fights before we used it, right?
Yeah.
So we used it on the third fight. Besides that, in that situation, that was a lost fight, right? We don't want to use ult and or sorry, not lost fight. That was one fight, right? Don't use
One
ultimates in
fight,
one
yeah.
fight, right? Because that's just overkill. It doesn't really accomplish anything, right? On top of that, if we were coming into that fight, right, like we know the fight's still happening, and we might want to look to use our ult. Coming on that top high ground might be a better place to get it off than the low ground, right?
Dude, I don't know what's wrong with me. Yeah, I'm making so many mistakes. Holy.
Hold him back.
Yeah, nice flash.
Observe the...
Okay. Oh.
Oh my god, oh. Dude, I'm trolling unbelievably. Like, this is one of the worst games I've had in a while.
Yeah, all good, man.
Alright, how is she alive? Kill that Mercy! No.
Right?
Oh, we lost.
You know,
Yeah.
keep in mind, even I do terribly. Like I do perform worse when people are watching me. That's why I would never have made a good streamer. Just distracts me too much. So in any case, let's go over a bunch of different things. Right? Don't fuss about the last game. So I pulled up a stream here if you'd like to take a look, and then I'm gonna exit
Alright.
yours for a moment being since just the audio.
How do I
Yeah, just
just stop
see my
streaming for a
stream.
minute?
Yeah, you can see mine if you click on like
Yeah, I got
yeah.
it.
All right, you found it. Okay, so let's talk about a bunch of different things. So first off, I think two I guess three biggest concepts within our gameplay that plagued that game that we just had, right? So first off, let's talk about McCree's range, right? Did you hear me talk about range at all when I went
Yeah.
over McCree? Yeah, all right. So,
All in a
no,
day's
we
work.
are not playing anywhere close to where we want to be playing, right? So, our own range, right, is going to, like, as you heard me say, I'm not going to go too in depth on it, but it's 10 meters to 25 meters is our preferred range. We spend the majority of our gameplay at like this range from people, right? Like within probably like 30 to maybe like 30 to 35 or 30 to 40, right? Within that range, right? That's the range in which we spent most of our gameplay at, right? So if you watched, when I did my other coaching videos, right? 1, 2, 3 versus when I come all the way
All in
back
a
here to
day's
this,
work.
It's
40
like
range,
7, isn't
right?
it?
Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? No, even more than 7.
Yeah.
7, 8, 9, right? So now I
Yeah.
just took 3 times the amount of damage to kill them, right? Now on top of that, it's also going to be a smaller target, so it's harder to hit, which means you're going to be missing more shots, right? So overall, you are going to have over a 3 times more effectivity if you are understanding your proper range, right? I just want to hammer that home a little bit because we didn't really understand this, right, within our gameplay. We were very constantly too far away from the fight, and that just meant lack of damage. Lack of damage means lack of kills. You're not gonna be able to kill things if you're
Yeah.
not damaging them, right? So get closer to the fight, right? 10 meters to
Too
25 is
slow.
your preferred distance. So besides that, let's talk about target priority. Have you heard me talk about target priority at all?
Not really.
Not really. Okay, so let's go over that then. So target priority is you should be shooting at the most valuable targets and the highest the highest priority targets, right? The most valuable targets, but then also the easiest targets. So on their team, right? Let's just start with valuable. Valuable depends upon the situation. It's very situational. Depends on what they're running and what's happening. But in that last game they were on, who would you say is maybe like the character on their team who had the highest possibility to carry them? Right, like maybe the
Is there a
biggest
way I
carrying
can look
potential.
back at it? At their comp?
They had a let's see what they had. They had a Roadhog. They had a Mercy. They had a they had a
They had a
they had
Junkrat
a
and a
Junkrat.
Symmetra.
They had a Symmetra. They had a Pharah for a
Oh,
second
yeah.
for attack, I think, right? Over the
Yeah.
Junkrat, right? They
Right.
Junkrat was on defense, right? Then what else was there?
Oh, Lucio
Lucio,
and
and then
was it Orisa?
second thing I think was Orisa. Yep.
So I think, like, you want me to tell you who got the most value,
No,
or was supposed to?
who do you think has like let's say for example on defense, right? On their team composition, who do you think maybe had the highest potential for carrying? Not who
Probably
did
either
carry.
Symmetra or Mercy.
You see?
Or
I'd probably say Farah, right, as the highest
Farah. Oh,
potential
on
for carrying,
defense.
right?
Oh, on my
Yes,
defense.
on your defense. Yes.
Oh, I'm
Your
sorry.
defense. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So in that situation, right, Farah has the highest potential for carry because she's essentially she's has the power of two
Yeah.
characters, right? Mercy's pocketing her. She has the power of two characters, which makes her basically the most powerful character on their team,
Right.
right? Essentially. Besides that, you're one of the only people on your team who can contest Farah. Therefore, her value goes higher than other characters, right? So we should
Yeah.
be, for example, looking at Farah over maybe somebody else on the team, right? So that's one factor.
Right.
The other factor is how easy are people to kill, right? In general, tanks are not easy things to kill, right? Tanks have 2 to 3 times the health of other characters. They have
Right.
shields, they have armor, they have tanking abilities, and on top of all of that, right, even though they're very important role and they can carry, their job is to create space, whereas the job of DPS is to output damage and supports output healing. So they output statistical data value, whereas tanks don't really do that, right?
I'm
So
sorry. Can I pause you for a moment?
yeah.
Should I queue another one? Or
Nope,
not yet?
not for the moment.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
We're gonna be here for a minute. We'll
Okay.
get into that in a minute.
Okay.
So tanks, hardest things to kill, right? So let's just go through that last comp that we were just in, right? So let's just say Orisa, Roadhog, right? Pharah, Mercy, Lucio, and then the other DPS was Symmetra, right? So that's
Right.
their comp. If just put that in order real quick, from the easiest to kill to the hardest to kill on that team.
Happy
Easiest to kill.
Easiest to kill to hardest to kill.
And you said, is it Junkrat or Pharah?
Pharah.
Pharah.
Pharah's the easiest to kill.
I'd say
Oh.
Pharah is the easiest.
Pharah's the-
Well, unless she doesn't have unless she has a mercy pocket, which she did.
Double
I don't know, honestly. I don't know about. I can tell you hardest.
Alright, who's
Definitely
hardest?
Roadhog.
Roadhog. I'd agree with that. You're correct.
And second hardest would be Orisa.
Yeah.
And
All right.
then probably Mercy would be a difficult one.
Yeah. So let's go through that real quick, right? I would probably say that. I guess it really depends upon the Pharah, but I would say it when you're on McCree, it'd be like I'd probably say Pharah, Mercy, and Sim. All have. I don't know. It's hard to say because honestly, Sim has no mobility and no defensive abilities, so she's one of the easiest targets in the game to kill. So I'd probably say Sim is probably the easiest thing for you to kill, and then Pharah, Mercy would both kind of come next as a number 2. Then you would have Lucio, then Orisa, then Roadhog, right? Now, in that last game, we spent a lot of time looking at their tanks, right? I'd say we
Yeah.
spent a good portion of the game looking at their tanks.
Way too much.
Yep. Then on top of that, let's say just look at this scenario. Mercy, we looked at Mercy while she was Valking and just flying around. Not the strat, right? That probably don't want to do that. If Mercy's flying around and Valking, she has much higher mobility. On top of that, she has self-healing that's going to be self-healing her constantly through it. So it's not going to be an easy target to kill in any sense against a Valking Mercy unless you have like High Noon, for example. Other exceptions would be like if she's low or if your whole team's looking at her or if she's rezzing, right? Then you can look at her, but if she's just flying around in the sky and you don't have ult, then don't look at her, right? We spent a long time trying to and it's just not worth it, right? So in general, look the easiest things to kill and the highest value, not the hardest. So if Pharah, therefore, is the easiest thing to kill, one of the easiest things to kill, and also the highest value, then Pharah might be like, highest priority, maybe Sim and Mercy being a secondary, right? Then we, as opportunities come, then we go for the others. Go ahead.
Correct.
Never had a chance.
Were you gonna say something?
No, I'm just agreeing.
Okay. I thought you said All right. So in any case, right. Moving on. I think now is the time where you can start to queue up. Just let me know when you get into a game. Right. So moving on. Actions per minute. Make sure that you are constantly doing something. Right. I'd probably say that the biggest thing we struggled with in that game was, or not biggest, but sorry, one of the biggest things we struggled with was just a lack of impact. So let's talk on that for a little bit. So actions per minute is just make sure you're constantly doing something and being efficient with your time, right? So what that looks like is if you compare a bronze player to a grandmaster player, right? A grandmaster player is going to, for the most part, with mistakes excluded, are going to be efficient with every single second of their time. Whereas a bronze player might go pew, 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 shoot, shoot, and then all of a sudden take a random 10-second pause, right? And then go pew, pew, shoot, shoot, and then take a second to admire the scenery, right, and look around, right? So they're going to be very easily distracted. They're not going to be constantly doing something, which gets ironed out the higher you go, right? So within our gameplay, what that looks like is like we'll see sim turrets and then spend 7 seconds staring at sim turrets, right?
Yeah, sorry. No, go ahead.
Good.
I don't know what I was gonna say.
Yeah, so like making sure we're processing the decision faster. Just don't hesitate.
Yeah.
Go for it, right? Go somewhere, do something. It's always going to be more beneficial to make a snap decision and then come to regret it and change it later than to just hesitate, because that always is going to make the decision worse, right? If you hesitate, it's like, it's whether it's a good decision or bad decision, it's like just always going to make it worse, right? Because if it's a good decision, then you just hesitated on the good decision. If it's a bad decision, then you've just made that bad decision longer and take longer and worse, right? So overall,
Right.
don't hesitate, do it. Make sure we're constantly looking to do something. Don't take random downtime where we're not really doing very much and just sitting around. The exception to that is like what we talked about, like in the game where you have your ult and the whole team's dead, and there's no reason for you to be like poking them,
Yeah.
right? There's some
Oh,
exceptions.
so bad.
There's some.
Sorry.
Yeah, all good. There's some exceptions to the rule, but not a ton, right? Are you familiar with? I guess we'll go over a couple other things. Ability usage. Are you familiar with McCree's roll tech?
Heard you talk about it, but I don't understand it.
Yeah.
From my understanding is like I thought like I didn't like I daydreamed it, right? Like when I heard you talk about it, it was very surreal because I was like I was wondering if this could exist.
Mhm.
Like, and apparently it does, but I
Yeah.
just don't know how to do it.
Yeah, so you're basically what it looks like, right? Is it allows you to get
Yeah.
up higher. It mutes, muffles the sound on your roll, right? And so like this, for example, like if I just try to roll into that normally, wouldn't really go anywhere. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to press space bar and then shift pretty much immediately one after the other, and you can actually cross that gap and like make it up something, right? So this,
Spacebar first.
yep. So spacebar first, then shift, and it's just a very fast succession. So you have to basically get used to it. It took me like even knowing the order, it took me like 5 minutes before I even got the first try. I got it the first time, right? So go into training range, practice it out whenever you get the chance, right? It's a very handy tech. I recommend just like anytime you're just like rolling out a spawn and like just use and roll anytime there's no high pressure. Practice it. Just do it anytime you're
God.
regular rolling. Do you get it?
No, I didn't. I didn't
Alright.
get the jump at the end, but I did the sequence, the first sequence.
Okay. So next, flashbang usage, right? Let's talk about when to left click versus right click into a flashbang, because you do want to left click sometimes in the flashbang, right? A lot of people misunderstand and they just always right click, right? So why you would want to left click? Left click is going to mean that if you do not have enough ammo, you can still finish off a kill. If you right click, oh, never mind. I guess I could finish off the kill there. Right. Let's say we have 2 shots left, right? Yeah, it's Tracer, right? We right click, we don't have enough shots, right? So left clicking would mean that we are gonna have enough shots, right? Because we can just do that and she's dead, right? So left click will do more damage. If you don't have enough shots on top of this, it's going to mean that you can immediately continue to shoot. We can get the kill and then immediately continue to shoot. Whereas if we right clicked, we'd have to do this long reload animation, and that's time where we could be doing things. So it's more efficient.
I found the game.
Yeah, okay. So I'll finish this real quick. Times where you are going to left click, or sorry, times where you right click is where you cannot see heads, and when it is a surprise. When you are fully expecting to flashbang and you can see their head, you left click. So Tracer, you can see head all the way around, right? But if we swapped over to a character like Reinhardt, you cannot see his head from behind, right? Or from the sides. So we would have to right click against a Reinhardt. If
I have a question.
Yeah,
what if it's like what if it's a character like Reaper, for example? A Reaper, like you see a Reaper in the front line, you know he doesn't have Wraith. What if can you just roll flash right click him or something?
The question would be like, why right click when you can just 2-tap him in the head, right?
Okay. All right. I guess I get that now. I was like, I wasn't clear on what situations you were talking about.
Yeah. So that's why I was going through that. Let me watch your thing. I'm gonna stop streaming and watch yours. But it's so like, let's say someone sneaks up behind you, right? Then you have to right click because you're not expecting it. Let's say you are sneaking up behind somebody else. Well, now you are expecting it, so you can left click, right? And then, like I said, if you cannot see heads, go for it.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
No way he lives. Oh my gosh.
So got caught up a little bit on shooting at tanks. We like sat on 1 ammo for a little bit when we probably should have reloaded. Make sure reloading. I'm gonna start talking a little bit more while you play, since we got a couple of the main points out of the way. So just keep that in mind. I'll guide you, remind you, that type of deal.
How would I get value here?
Yep, right now you're
When we're
you're just waiting to break past the choke. You don't want to take too long to rotate all the way around, so you're just gonna spam while your team looks to push. Flashbang the Zarya when she gets too close enough, right? Make sure using that ability. It has a 10 meter range, right? Some people think that it's closer than that. You have a decent range on it, so make sure you're looking to use it.
Right.
Okay. Make sure you're not tap firing. You want to be holding that down so you get as much damage out as possible, right? It's going to give you max damage if you're holding it down. Sometimes we've been tap firing it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, make sure we're
That
like
was
not pushing forwards with our team, right?
yeah. I guess I'm just too eager to like play the game. If that makes sense. Like
Yep.
like I just want to.
There's times to push, times when not to push, right? It's understanding
Yeah.
between the two. So if you feel like you're stuffed in here, you can go left or right. That is an option here. Probably left would be better because right side is, over a void. But of course, as soon as we do that, our team pushes through, right?
Yeah. No way. Oh. That was a bad right click.
Another time where you wouldn't right click is at too long of a range, right? That was a little bit too far away to right click.
Oh my god.
Right.
Dude, I don't know what's wrong with me tonight.
All good. After this game, so let's see, we have 24 minutes left here. So if this game ends on a faster pace and we still have time, we can we can just do a replay if you like to. But that's up to you.
I'd have to find a good one, but yeah.
Yeah. So left clicks, right? So just shooting in general, we seem to have we seem to be flicking a little bit. I don't think we're doing like super big long flicks, but we are doing a little bit of micro flicking, and possibly like in situations where it's not necessary. Flicking is necessary when you have a fast moving target, right? When like a tracer's blinking around you and someone sneaks up behind you, you have to flick around real quick, right? Flicking is necessary when you are just not expecting someone and they sneak up behind you, right? But flicking is not necessary when you're just already looking at somebody, right? Then it just can become a hindrance to your shooting.
Nobody's up here.
Okay, want to be getting a little bit closer, maybe taking a high ground, right? So like maybe being up on that top high ground would have been better in the situation.
You're right.
But then at the same time, once you're down there, you want to commit to down there because otherwise you're out of the fight for a while you rotate. But yeah, this is where you should be. Yeah, exactly.
That was a left click.
Yeah.
My habits are so bad.
Yeah, all good, right? That's the type of thing you gotta take time to work on. It's not gonna immediately fix itself, right? When you see that the fight's lost, right? So we might have to end up talking about that. I think we're gonna talk about that at some point.
Staggering.
Yeah, staggering. But did you ever hear me talk about how to tell whether or not a fight is won or lost?
No.
Yeah, okay, so
not that point exactly.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that then, right after the game is done. Okay, look to in that situation, might want to look to get like closer to the fight again. Like if Reinhardt's pushing, if they're leaving the choke and Reinhardt's pushing in, creating some space, getting closer might be a good idea.
Yeah. I think I'm thinking too much about this. Alright, well.
Check this out. Join with me. Group up with me.
Dude, I gotta make a decision.
Right. So pay attention to where your team is, right? They're all going a different direction. You're running down main. Make sure, I think we might go over positioning as well.
That's a fat finger. That's a fat finger. Oh my god. Dude, I'm so unlucky right now. I'm so sorry, bro. This is not how I thought this would pan out.
You're fine, right? All right, so that's game.
Yeah.
So let's see. Just
Let's
as a
just.
as a thing to keep in mind, right? Think there's a difference between thinking too hard and thinking long, right? I
Yeah.
don't think there's ever such thing as thinking too hard about something, right? Like if you're going into a play and you're in a fight, thinking hard is what you should be doing. Thinking long is different because now you're taking a long time to think hard, which means that you end up hesitating and making, lagging in your decision making. So thinking fast while also thinking hard is going to be beneficial for you. All right. Now, let's go over some things before you can go ahead and like look for a game if you'd like to, but I'm going to be streaming and we can go over some things
I
here.
think this is the one I wanted to use.
Okay. Yep. Just double check
Because
it as you go.
this was a close game.
Mhm.
So
All right.
Justice ain't gonna
hey,
So,
extend to
do you think that you understood the when to left click versus right click, or did I need to keep saying that, or because we cut
I
out like 3/4 through?
I understand it. I just need
Mm.
a lot of practice with
Yeah,
it.
yeah, 100%, man. Like it's something you'll need to work on. All this is, right? Let's talk about how to tell whether or not you've won or lost a fight, right? So you tell that mainly, primarily through
too
watching kill
slow.
feed, right? When you
Yeah.
are up or down 1 to 2 people, that is a advantage or a disadvantage, right? And then you can play more aggressive or more passive. When you are up or down 2 to 3 people, that is a
Right.
won or a lost fight. Right? That is where when you can play really aggressive or really passive. If you've don't use ultimates in won or lost fights, and then if you've lost the fight, you want to look to get out if possible. If not possible, you let them kill you so that you don't stagger yourself, right? You understand what staggering is. You
All in
mentioned it. You
Yeah.
use the term. So we just want to make sure we are not staggering by adhering to those guidelines of get out or die, right?
I need
Essentially.
to get better at that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, moving on, I think let's talk about positioning real quick, right? First off, don't walk up ahead of your tanks, right? That's a
Yeah.
general one. I think most people understand that. Don't walk too far forwards, right? Besides that, general positioning. Do you hear me talk about general positioning at all? Right? Just cover usage. Is that something we
Uh,
discussed?
That a fair
I've done a lot of research on it. If
Mm.
that means anything.
Yeah.
But
So I don't think we're absolutely terrible at this, but I think it is just still something to mention that we don't do great in a couple instances, right? But if we're standing right here, right, and enemy teams all over there and they're all shooting at us, it takes us 1, 2, 3 seconds to run away from them, right?
yeah.
Now,
Oh yeah. I've seen this bit.
yeah,
So
yeah. So this bit, right? This is
yeah.
cover usage, right? So
Yeah.
therefore, through this bit, right, good
Yeah.
positioning is the usage of cover, whereas bad
Cover.
positioning is the
Yep.
absence of cover, right? So we want to
Yes.
make sure
There.
that, yeah, yeah. So we want to make sure that we're looking to do that. Whereas, like for example, in the one death where we kind of like rolled into their team, right? That's a
Yeah.
little bit of lack of cover usage, a little bit overextending. Besides that, we had a couple other deaths or instances where we could have used cover a little bit better. Make it your first instinct to take high grounds. In a couple instances, it's like not really been our first
pull
instinct.
back.
Did you hear me talk about high ground usage at all? Like why it's good?
Uh.
Usually that follows like right after cover usage.
Oh my.
Yeah.
You're gonna say it, and I'm gonna remember.
Yeah, it's all
But
good.
I'm pretty sure. Does it have something to do specifically with hit scans, or was
No,
that from someone else?
not really.
That was. Yeah, okay.
Yep. So taking high grounds is good for you for multiple reasons. Firstly, it all acts as natural cover. They can see us, now they can't. They can see
Right.
us, now they cannot. Oh, now they cannot, right?
Yeah.
So people cannot see you if you use high ground as cover, right? Secondly, most characters in the game can't reach you when you're on the high ground without using the stairs, right? 2/3 of them can't. The third that can need to
Oh, you
use,
use abilities.
yeah, need to use
and
abilities,
That's
right?
wasted cooldown, or it's
Yeah.
cooldowns used,
Mhm.
which help you out in the fight. Yeah, I remember
Exactly.
that.
Yep.
I remember that.
And then third point being visibility. We can see here and there, right, and here and there. But on the low ground, we can't see over there, or any of the high ground, right?
Yeah.
So gives us additional visibility as well, right? So a lot of different points, right? Besides that, I think that is it for what we're going to discuss in here. So do you have that replay code you'd like to go over?
You want the code?
Yeah, you can give me the code.
Yeah. All right. Yes. I forgot that's how this thing works.
Yeah, actually, like, maybe, like, just high noon usage. Pretty much the only thing with high noon usage I'd say is just make sure you are high nooning. Like, I don't think we've had a problem with survivability while high nooning too much. The main problem is that we're not high nooning when there's actually anybody to high noon, right? Make sure when you're high nooning, there's people, like, that bad positioning we were talking about is bad positioning for other people as well, right? So do it when they're in bad positioning. So these guys, if they're both in those rooms or near those rooms or near the pillars, that's not a good high noon timing because they can just very easily get behind the corner. We want a high noon when we see a ton of people who are out in the open and can't really escape from you. So like something like this, right, where they're both out in the open and they can't really run away, right? Besides that,
I trolled a lot of those today.
yeah.
I
Alright.
trolled so hard today. I'm embarrassed. Like I'm so sorry.
No, all good. All right. Not the worst gameplay I've ever seen.
But I don't know. I feel like I've cheated myself. I'm like I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, all good, man. Like if you feel like that was, I don't know, it's up to you, like and how you felt during it. If you felt like that was just a bad day, then come back next day, next day do better, right? If you feel
Right.
like that was a situation where where you felt like you were stressed because somebody was watching you, which is sometimes the case with people, then next time you do a session, maybe do a replay, right? It might be a better alternative than
Right.
playing really poorly during a session, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to give me the code?
It's 1HK 0SD.
Okay, I got it up. And you can probably stop streaming as well.
I'll do that.
Ready for battle.
So I kind of play Faro for this first bit here.
You want me to skip over that?
Yeah, I mean, I trolled, but
You seem to do that a lot.
yeah, today was not a good day of Overwatch for me. I'll be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah, I've had better days.
Yeah, jumping in the comp, right, like, when they haven't played in a little bit as well, that might be another thing to keep in mind, right? There's another aspect of that, right? So here, noticing a little bit of crosshair placement. Have you heard me talk about crosshair placement before?
Yeah, head
Yeah.
level.
Right, so here, just look at maybe like where crosshair is in comparison to Zarya, and what makes up for it and leads to this headshot is the fact that we jumped here, and that put us up
Yeah,
at head level, but that
yeah,
we don't want that to be the case. We don't, like,
right.
jumping's actually, like, not good for you in games. It just makes you an easier target to hit, it's not a good habit to be in. So
Yeah,
we instead just want to aim head level, right? Make it easy, or on yourself. Use cover, drop off the edge if you need to there. Request healing. You're not going to get anything if you're just sitting there and chilling, right? It's going to take them extra long to find you and heal you, right? They might not have even seen us, right, to heal us, right, if you
yeah.
didn't press it. So press it, right? Going to get us healing faster. Right.
Oops.
Cover usage, right? So here we have, for particularly, right, where's the cover here that we can
Probably
use?
to my right.
Probably exactly, right?
The
To your
window.
right, we go boop. Now he can't see me, right? We can roll there if we need to, right? What's another maybe play that we can make here that leads to maybe an easy kill?
Roll flashbang.
Yep. Right, like it. Look at where their team is. Are we gonna be like super punished if we did that?
No.
No. So here in this situation, roll flashbang, probably do a decent bit. Also, hit your shots.
I aim was so bad. It gets better throughout this VOD, I promise.
Yeah.
Because
Alright.
it was one of those games where I was warming up, but then I felt hot towards the end.
Do you do a warm up before you play comp?
I used to, but now I can't. I mean, not shooting bots isn't really a warm up.
Yep.
It's like
I
that's kind of what I do, though.
I would probably recommend, instead of shooting bots, go and play Triad Free For All. Right, it's a really that's always what I recommend to people. Really excellent place to warm up. There's bots moving very predictable patterns. You're not gonna have anybody shooting at you. It's not a very high pressure situation. They have massive head hitboxes. Right, it's not realistic. Right, in Triad Free For All, it's actual people shooting at you. You're in duels, so you're not just practicing. You're not just warming up your aim, but you're warming up your duels and practicing duels. Right, but on top of that, there's no objectives. There's no teammates. It's just you and shooting. Right, and that's
Yeah,
pretty much it. That's all it is, right? But it's more realistic than just shooting at bots. So I'd
right.
say, in fact, like going up against bots is a very poor warm up. Going up against actual people gets your blood pumping, right? That's what warm up's supposed to do. It's supposed to warm you up, get you into the game,
Yeah,
right?
I think a warm up could have probably helped me today.
Yep, and then
Like,
that's gonna make it so that you're coming in with some aim, right? Good hiding in there. Actually, wait. Let's go back and rewatch High Noon. I said good High Noon, and then I don't know if I was thinking through that when I said it. All right. In fact, bad High Noon. Sorry.
Oh, it's a bad
pull back my word a little bit. Why is this a bad High Noon? We just discussed it.
because they have cover.
Right. So one of them has cover. Two of them
So,
don't.
have we already won the fight?
Yeah, I'd probably say we've solidly won this fight at this point. It's a 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 versus a 1, 2, 3. We have maybe a little bit closer spawns. Lucio's in the middle of beating, so it's not like we have anything to worry about with the grab.
Right.
Right. So not. I'd say that we're solidly winning this. So maybe I knew not really necessary.
Draw.
Heroes never die.
And we also res like immediately afterwards as well, right?
Yeah.
So, but besides the fact that it was used in a poor timing, it was a good high noon in terms of how we used it. So the how was good, the when was bad.
Oh, excuse me.
When you're right next to somebody, flash at the floor, not somebody directly, right? This way, if you were to miss, if you were to like go to the left or the right of the soldier, it goes sailing past him. If you look at the
Right.
floor, it detonates on the floor, then therefore you are not going to end up having it sail past them. That's another situation where sometimes if you have to flash the floor, you might end up going for a right click over the left click, so you don't have to adjust all the way up to their head, right?
Oh, excuse me.
But, this is just going to make it a little bit more accurate.
The payload.
What? Hold on just a second.
Yeah?
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, all good. Alright.
Jackpot. Best head for the hills.
Yeah.
I'm on fire.
I'm unyielding. Where does it hurt?
Maybe looking to take high grounds right about now.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, pushing's fine if you're gonna get a kill out of it. Nice flash. Shoot.
Yeah, I'm just looking
little
at
pause
him.
there.
Enemy turret
Oh, so here, notice positioning, cover usage, right? You doing this, right? So we can do this, right? Type of deal. I
Right.
just said right like 5 times, but doing that, right? Keeps us alive. Taking high ground. High ground's great. Here you can get the high ground using both of these robots. You stand on the leg, come up here, jump on the wires, and you're up, right?
Oh, I was gonna ask how to do that because I attempt it later on in this thing, but I just don't know.
Yep. So again, leg, right? Up higher on the leg, just walk up the leg, you jump to the wires, then you're up. From here, you just walk around, then you're good, right? Other side, right? You start on the leg, then from here you jump up, and it's either like here, or you just jump up. It's either gonna be this or that. I think it might be this thing, right? From here you jump to this bar right there, and then from bar you can just jump across, and you're good, right? And do the same thing, right? Both
Okay.
sides you can do it. Also, if you care at all, right? There's also a spot all the way over here where you can walk along this ledge. You can actually walk along
Oh, you
this.
can?
Yep. So
I
you
didn't know.
can do that the whole way through, right? That way you, for example, someone comes left side or bit through this, and you're just above them, right? They don't really expect that. All right. So we are actually going to exit out here. We're going to go over the main points of the session, do a quick review, and then wrap up the session from there. So, let's see. Ability usage, right? Flashbang, left click versus right click. Left click when you are expecting it and when you can hit heads. Right click when you're not expecting it and when you can't hit heads. And then maybe another one to add in is like when it's hard to hit heads. It might be another time where you would right click. Right? Like if it's a really hard shot, you might want to err on the side of get the kill, right? Besides that, flashbang more often. It's a 10-meter radius, right? That is from here to there, right? It's a pretty far distance. Sometimes people think it's closer, and we didn't really. Sometimes the people be within that, and we didn't use it. Roll tech, practice it. pretty handy. Besides that, make sure we're just rolling in a couple situations where we could have, where we didn't. Besides that, honestly, not a whole lot with abilities. Not honestly, McCree abilities usually aren't ever a big deal because they're just not super high powered. So overall, low to medium priority for you to work on, right? High
Yeah.
noon, probably a little bit more to work on, particularly making sure that we're just don't use it in one or lost fights. Make sure we're trying not to fat finger it, right? Make sure that you are using it when you can actually see people and when there's people out in the open who you can hit, not when they're like right behind cover or near cover, right? Besides that, I think that's pretty much it with it, right? Overall, probably like a low to medium again, but probably the higher end then of ability usage, right? Um, Mechanics, right? Make sure we are having good crosshair placement, aim at head level, aim where we know people are going to be. We didn't really talk about that though. Besides that, target priority, right? Shoot at the right things to shoot at. Don't shoot at the wrong things, right? Shoot at the easiest things to kill and the highest value things to kill. So pick out those two things. Particularly the easy one is the biggest kind of factor there, the easiest one to identify, right? So think about who's the easiest, who's the hardest to kill, right? Just go through the list real quick. Tanks typically are going to be on that higher end. Some other characters might be on the higher end as well. Sometimes it's going to change based off the situation, right? A Mercy Valking is going to be harder than a Mercy not Valking, right? So two of the right things. Besides that, actions per minute. Make sure you're not just sitting out of the fight. Don't take random lulls and breaks. Do things as often as possible, right? That way you're able to get things done. Be productive. Other than that, make sure we're not randomly flicking. I think a couple times, like with our aim, we'd like do this, right? We'd kind of go for these micro flicks. It's not like super long flicks like we go like this, but we'll maybe do like these micro ones where we'll go on, off, and we do this like fast one over. But that's not really necessary if you're already aiming at them. That's necessary if we're aiming down here, we need to flick up to him, or if we need to go behind and flick on the tracer, or something like that. It's not necessary when we're already staring at this person, right? It can, in fact, just be a negative if we're looking at them and then all of a sudden we're adjusting off of them, right? Or we're here and we're adjusting this way, right? Whereas we could just acquire the target and stay on the target, right? So a couple times, honestly, I don't think that one was like massive. Keep practicing our game, try a free for all, warm up, right? That type of deal. Overall, that one's like a medium priority for you to work on, right? Positioning, make sure you're using cover. Make sure we're not rolling up in front of our team. That was another thing with roll. Don't roll into people, unless it's into like a single person to kill them, right? Make sure you're taking high grounds, like your first instinct to take high grounds. Rotate, place it to the best positioning possible in between fights. That usually entails being a high ground, right? Make sure you're keeping within your proper distance. This is a massive one. 10 to 25 meters on McCree. Other than that, you have fall off damage. Things are harder to hit because they're smaller. You do like we discussed, at a max distance where you're doing like 11 shots to kill, that is almost literally going to be over 4 times harder to kill something, right?
Yeah.
3 times harder to kill something, 2 times harder to kill something, right? So why make it 4 times, 3 times, 2 times harder to kill something when you can make it 1 times hard, make it just normal difficulty, right? So that's a pretty massive one. Overall, that boost it up to low to medium, possibly, or sorry, medium high is what I meant to say. Possibly even a high. For the moment, we'll do a low to medium. Or I keep saying that. Sorry, medium high is what I meant. Finally, awareness, right? Make sure you are paying attention to your environment, right? Watch your health bar, request healing when you're low. Watch how the fight's going, right? Who's winning, who's losing, right? 1 to 2, and then 2 to 3 is just the order. When you winning, get aggressive. Losing, play passive. No ults in won or lost fights. When you lost, get out or let them kill you. Don't stagger. In general, pay attention to what the heck is happening around you. And then overall, that one probably goes like a medium priority, right? Also, pay attention to team compositions and how they affect your play style. That every team comps you're going to play it differently against. An example of that would be picking out easiest targets to shoot at, right? So paying attention to that as well. And then maybe another time I would mention that I never mentioned was pay attention to ultimates on your team. Recommend getting the habit of press tab. I never really saw us press tab in between every single fight of the game, right? This is going to give you information such as what are they running? What are we running? What ultimates do we have? There's a time where we high noon literally like a second before we Sigma Fluxed and then died, right? Where we could have comboed with Sigma Flux, a really good combo with McCree, right? So pay attention to that. That's other awareness. Still probably a medium priority though. So let's put that in order real quick. Number 1 is positioning. Number 2 is awareness. Number 3 is mechanics. Number 4 is ultimate usage. Number 5 is ability usage. Any questions about anything or just anything else in general?
Hold on, can you say that again? I want to write this down.
Yeah, all good. Keep in mind as well, if you don't want to, I'm getting you notes here because you ordered this.
Oh
So you're gonna
yeah.
have
Okay.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All good.
Yep, just
So
I
any
forgot I
questions?
ordered that. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So any questions on anything? Yeah.
I guess not really.
Double kill.
Call that
I mean, there's definitely questions. I'm just gonna forget about. I just don't. I'm just gonna remember them later.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you ever have any other questions, right? That's part of the exit out here. But let me stop.